Good morning, everybody. My name is Usa. It is Saturday morning, and we are playing Farming Simulator 19 on Oakfield Farm Farming Agency Edition. And we're pretty much continuing from where we left off last week, harvesting our crop of sunflowers, which we're not going to be selling for quite some time. Now, as I said last week, this thing doesn't take long. We have the bigger harvester, the bigger Helianthus header, and yeah. Definitely liking this upgrade. Now, I've set the Valtra off up in our potato field, topping the heads there. Unfortunately, he's struggling, so we'll probably have to go and finish that job off ourselves. The fields are just in really bad shape, so you get stuck at a corner and you have to go and take care of it. I've also bought out the class, and that's currently spreading slurry in our other sunflower field. So we'll be taking care of that. Looks like he's not doing stuff, so I should probably go and find out what his problem is. Looks like for some reason he's in the middle of the field. And maybe he's out of slurry. Well, he made one row by the looks of it, so yay for that. Now, the other problem I have in this field, I still want to figure out if we've managed to get rid of this pod of trees that was in this general area. And the only way I can really figure that out is by setting a worker off on the field, and I kind of don't want to do that right now. Extend the pipe. I'll get this unloaded. It's not as full as it needs to be, but yeah, you're empty. Okay. So yeah, this field is gonna take some time. I've probably got most of that bottom left corner done. I did initially come out here with the cultivator, which obviously not needed right now, because we seriously need to overload this field with nitrogen. Into things. I think I've parked a little bit, too far away. And that pipe's gonna be a problem when we come to cart. Oh, you toad. Come on. Problem here is, to be in range of the pipe, you have to drive over it. Isn't the best thing to do in the real world. Come on. I'm going to need to turn the help on just so I can see what I'm doing, and then Open manure flow, jump in the tractor, and turn on the pump. Yay. So we've got about 14,000 litres of digestate in the tanker. What I plan to do is basically fake us driving down to the BGA. So I'll note down how many loads of digestate I magically loaded the tanker with. I'm not sure this is a full tank's worth. That's fine. There we go. Close that, drop that, and you can go back to where you were. In a general course where we left off. I can turn the help screen off. I'm going to have the help screen on every time we go and refill the digestate. Okay, I'm running at a 90 by 270 course. So let's pull forward a little way and set the worker running. Now, the accuracy of this isn't important. This is giving a boost. I mean, 80, we're giving a 60 kilograms per hectare boost in nitrogen where this goes. But we're going to plant and then we're going to spray. And the spray will boost everything that we miss. So it's not a bad problem. That did not turn on, okay. Yes, I'm currently running various tests on FarmSim22, and good morning actually, Timmy. So when I transfer this series over, or when I start playing FarmSim22 on Saturday mornings in replacement of this series, I'll have a better idea of what I want to do and how I want to do it. So I've been testing out things like greenhouses and how they work and what production they do and how your different decisions affect that. My latest test is with cows, and I'm looking at beef and dairy, food types and all the things, so I can decide, do I want to do the standard, let's do dairy cattle, or do I want to do something different and maybe try beef? What else do I need to look at? I need to look at the other productions. We on, I think it was Virtual Farmers series this week. A couple of us came up with a question of, will we know if you have a production facility that has one input source? So, for example, milk at a dairy produces butter and cheese. Water at a greenhouse produces the 3 greenhouse outputs. But the question we had was, the productions of a production facility are based on how the single source usage. So if I put milk in to a dairy and produce butter, I get the maximum amount of butter. If I produce cheese, I get the maximum amount of cheese. But if I decided to produce both, I only get 50% output of butter and 50% output of cheese. So the production facilities are limited by their processing capacity, not by what you're producing. So you can't produce everything at maximum rate. So that brought up the question of, well, what happens if I'm doing, say, an oil, I want to say oil refinery, an oil processing plant, which takes canola oil, olives, or takes canola, olives and sunflowers. If I do just one of those, I know what I'm going to get. If I do all three, does it matter, because they're using a different source of input? So do I, and so that's now our outstanding question. So that's another test I need to run, but probably not immediately, because depending on which farm I select for FarmSim 22, if I go with Calmsden, it has no production. If I want to, and well, run this over and empty it again. If I want to buy the placeable areas, that's 600,000. So you need to raise a lot of cash before you can have a placeable area to put a production facility. So maybe that's a little ways off, immediate concerns, if you like. Okay, we did that. And you're empty again. Now this, as I estimated, this field is going to take a while to spread the slurry on. Now, the way I'm going to do this, and assume that I'm really using a worker for this. What's that? We jump out of here. We'll go up to the truck. So, F11 vehicle. I'm going to load this up with digestate, and I can empty it the same way. So I've just got 30,000 litres of digestate in the tank, and I write on a piece of paper and make a note of that. That's one tank load. Now at the end of this session, maybe off camera, we'll take the tanker down to the BGA and go and empty the BGA and just dump the contents. So I'm kind of saying that, workers just taken my truck down to the BGA, filled up the tanker. We're now going to fill up the spreader twice, and then while we're spreading the second tank, the tanker runs off to the BGA and back. But I've got other things that are taking my attention here, so we'll just say that's what's really happening. Now, while I like Realismus's seasons, it's a realism thing. It's not a sim thing, if you understand what I'm saying. So what Giants has done is basically make the in-game seasons more of a sim. So you don't have to know the deep ins and outs of how it works. And that was one of the things with Seasons, when it first came out, was running tests, what does it do, what can I do, things like that. But I think it provides the basis of Seasons. Part of the problem with Seasons is all the math behind it. That's now embedded in the game. But having Realismus doing a... Where did we come from? Excuse me while I look at the lay of the land. Nitrogen content, pH content. Nope. Nitrogen content. Oh, we're way down here. Okay. So for example, they could add rotting for grass and hay, and the other stuff, straw. And I think that would be a good addition. It's one of the things, as I understand it, it's going to be easier to add crops. So the farming agency could quite possibly add Maize Plus and all of the extensions for Maize Plus very easily, because the support for modders apparently is now there. Now, I haven't heard any modders say, yeah, this is definitely the way things go. But here's what I'm saying about it getting stuck in corners. We are struggling, and I probably am going at the wrong angle for this field, but off you go. Anyway, let's turn that on, fold that in, go get some more. So yeah, and the same with productions. Now the productions themselves are embedded in the game. We're going to see more production facilities. I can almost guarantee that. And those productions are now going to be available for console players, not just PC players. So we'll see, we're already starting to see fertilizer manufacturing, seed manufacturing, and it's going to make the game more interesting. I mean, there is there's the issue already with geos, and if you're looking at Calmsden, it uses the base game geo. That ground there is really rough, and I've already played with it as best I can. But yeah, the whole, we can't have spring wheat and barley because the geo that Giants gave us supports winter wheat and barley, and spring wheat and barley is a thing. So I can see people either messing with their map geos, or potentially there being some way to add geos into the game which will allow us a bit more flexibility even. The other option may be that we need a new crop type for spring wheat and spring barley with a different growing period. But we'll see. I mean, the opportunities are now there. It's up to the modders to leverage them and get the whole thing going. I would like to see a little bit more complexity, yes. But I think what we've got is an incredible foundation, and it means that those of us that like playing with seasons can do it off the get-go. And you know, more seasons refinement will be a better thing. The whole I mean, the animals, I think the animals are okay. That was one of the questions I had even up to the release point, was I am so used to sheep producing wool during the spring and having offspring during the winter, early spring. And obviously with in-game seasons for 22, they just produce all year round. And I can see why Giants took that path, because production produces all year round. And the income from a production is based on how much can I do per month. And wow, we are done with this. I am impressed. That was about a 15-minute harvest thing. This field is small. I am seriously considering that patch of dirt just the other side of that hedgerow. I might want to buy that, add it to this field. Not literally add it to this field, but plant 3 fields of. I do the field where we're currently slurry spreading, this field, and then add the one to our left. Because it makes it, yeah, if I'm going out to harvest these 2 fields, harvesting a third's no big deal. We're all set up to do that. But, we are nearly full again. I think that's done. Oh. Although we have to drive all the way across the other field to unload the header. I wonder if there's enough room in the Dan Gravel trailer to take all of this. If it is, then this is a very, very... It's not a poor yield. It's just a very small field. One I'm not really used to. When you look at some of the fields we're running, I plant 2 fields and I get over 300,000 litres of stuff. This field didn't